Yes, I am back. Talk about consistency. I have to be consistent, guys. I have to be because this goal has to be achieved in this year. My reading goal is probably the only goal I'll achieve this year. I like every other goal kind of seems to kind of go deep as the year goes on, but reading I can get with and I can continue going with. So reading has to be achieved. Okay. And welcome back. We are here to review my fourth book of 2023. Yes, and I've still been reading, so more books are coming, quite a few more books are coming. And I hope that they're all good because guys, I'm enjoying the year so far. So I hope that none of the books really like disappoint me to the point that I can be like, maybe I'm gonna be in a book slump. But that hasn't happened yet. So we thank God. Now, the fourth book that I read this year is Drumroll, or should I say, Clap. As in clap when you land by Elizabeth Acevedo. So this book, didn't expect it. Didn't expect it. Now, this book has been on my TBR since it came out. I won't lie. I saw the cover. Gorgeous, gorgeous, two gorgeous black women. And then I read the blurb about what the book was about. And it made me want to read it more, but then it hit a bit close to home, and I'm just like, maybe not. And so I kept putting it off. And this book is not fantasy, so I had reason to put it off. I'm just like, my preferred genre, grew, and it became fantasy. And it solidified as fantasy last year. So I was just like, you're definitely in the waiting list, just not a priority. Probably in the back of it. Now, this book is about a crash, a plane crash from a plane heading to the Dominican Republic. And obviously, and sadly, no one survives the crash. And after, they, find out what plane it is, find out the passenger list, everyone who's on the plane, they now have to go through the task of contacting, their close family members to let them know that unfortunately this plane has crashed and we are expecting the person to be dead, but most likely he's dead. The only thing is, with this specific man, they had to contact two families because he had two families. And of course, neither knew about the other. Well, at least the daughters didn't know about each other. And the daughters are Camino, who lives in the Dominican Republic, and Yahaira, who lives in America. Both living separate lives, both having completely different personalities. And they both just found out that their dad died. Now, guys, why I said it hit close to home. No, I don't have a secret sister out there anywhere, but it's kind of common, not common, you hear it commonly, that, there are certain men who have multiple families in the Caribbean. So growing up in the Caribbean, it's not something that's strange for me to hear that this guy had two families left, right, and center. As in, like, be careful who you get with, because they might have family in Philadelphia, they might have family in the Dominican Republic, they might have a family all the way in England, guys. So as someone who was born and raised in the Caribbean, I was just like, I was just like, this sounds like it's gonna be a fight. It sounds like we're gonna end up with beef, and I was in the mood to read any of it. I'm just like, this type of drama I want to stay away from. So I wasn't really in the mood to read it, but I was just like, what, this book looks short. The cover is still pretty. Let me read it. Wow. When I tell you, I didn't expect what I read. Okay, so first and foremost, this book is poetry. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was a poetry book. As in, it's a story, like it's a full-on story, a fiction story, but it's written in poetry. I opened the book and I'm just like, why is it written in two lines? Like, why is it every other two lines we go to another stanza? Like, what's going on? Is this a song? Like, what's going on? And why do you have a song that's about 400 pages? What's going on? And then I read the first two lines, the next two lines, the next two lines. And this poetry, I'm just like, this is hitting my chest. And I loved it immediately. Because I was just like, this is lyrical. This is beautiful. Oh, I'm going to love this book. I already knew. I've never read a book like this. I love poetry, so I read poetry just in general. But then, like, poetry that's a poetry book is made of several different poems. This was a single book with just poetry. And I was just like, This is a single poem, a single 400-page poem. And it was beautiful to me. I loved it. And I think what was great about this book, like poetry aside, and that was beautiful, is the dual POV. I love multiple perspective books. I love when we have different points of view and different voices. Because I always say when I'm reading a book, I'm just like, while this character is here doing something, a lot of things are happening elsewhere. The world doesn't stop because of the one character that we're focusing on in a book. So I love when I read multiple viewpoints, because I'm just like, yes, we get to know what they were doing instead of them coming back to the main character and relaying what was told. I'm just like, no, 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 no. I want to see it as it was being done. So I love the multiple viewpoints, and what I love is that it was done well. I don't think I've ever read a book where like multiple viewpoints were done badly, but I fear the day that that happens to me. As in, like, with this book, the characters had distinct personalities, and I don't mean to say that, you know, when you write a book, the characters have to be complete opposite of one another. But I'm just like, if I cannot tell that this is a different person speaking when I change a chapter without reading their names, then no. But it was insane because the characters had completely different lives. So, but then it was because of the, you know, the circumstances surrounding them. One was raised in America, one was raised in the Dominican Republic, one was raised with both parents in the household, one was raised with like a temporary parent in the household, being raised. Oh, like it was a lot. And obviously, because these two countries are completely different as well, different cultures, different languages, that also contributed to how the girls were raised, how the girls saw life, how they translated life, how they translated their futures. And so taking all this into account, that shaped the girls, that shaped how they actually took on this huge, huge event that just happened. And I was like, wow, 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 wow. And through the book, I think what was like really, really giving me anxiety was, oh my goodness, how are they going to meet? Because they were not told about each other growing up. How are they going to meet? How are they going to find out about each other? How are they going to react? Are they going to accept each other? And the reactions I expected. I expected very much. I expected very much. And it was in line with the lives that they lived and the story that was being told. Very much so. It was good to actually see how like, you know, people's backgrounds, their differing backgrounds make them different. And, you know, it's not all blood. It's definitely nurture that, you know, definitely shapes a lot of who we are. Nature definitely has a lot to do with it, you know, blood cells, genes, genetics, and all that. But nurture is also very, very important. And we definitely saw that here. You know, nice little trinket to add here. This was a slow burn book. And I don't like slow burn, okay? I think that was another part of why I didn't pick it up initially when I first like saw the book and I really wanted to read it, because the premise is good. I don't like slow burn, and I had a feeling that the girls coming to know each other and coming to the realization that they have a whole other sibling in a whole other country and their dad was basically like a liar. I knew it was going to burn slow, but because of the beautiful language in the poetry of the book, oh, I didn't mind, because I was just going through a very long song. I was going through a very long song. The language was so beautiful, and I was just like, yes, yes, yes. And before anyone gets the wrong idea, this book is poetry, but it wasn't like every other line rhymed. No, that's not poetry. That's definitely not poetry. This was poetic. It was a different writing technique that she employed as well, the repetition, and that was so well executed. It was brilliantly used, the repetition. I'm just like, driving certain points home more than others. We needed that. And I loved how this book showed the different ways that people can grieve, because they lost their father. Some people lost a brother. Some people lost, one person lost a husband. Everyone lost someone, you know, and we were getting to see the different ways that people grieve. Some people keep pushing. Some people, you know, keep pushing and ignore it. You know, life has to go on even though this happened. Some people are non-functioning. They're just like, is this real? And they can't move. Some people are still, you know, taking forever to come to grips with what has happened. They're reflecting, you know, some people are changing their lifestyle, you know, going through a whole 360. It showed the different ways people grieved. And I was like, that's raw. And I love that. I love seeing them process their emotions in their own way. I was just like, this is such a healthy way to show that. Yeah, it was hurtful at times, really, just when they actually came to grips with how they were feeling, and their action that they took for it. I was just like, "Mm, I feel for them. And I love a book that makes me feel, but sad books are not my forte. So yeah, there were parts of this book where I was just like, I couldn't deal, but still, I loved. They also, the book also explored like the complicated act of forgiveness, because everyone was lied to, everyone was betrayed by this man. Everybody. So like everyone who's still alive had to, either, if you haven't already, you have to forgive this man. And that's a very complicated emotion, especially because he's dead. And so you're kind of just like, can I still be angry at the dead? And people are always just like, don't say anything ill of the dead. And so, but this man did some terrible things when he was alive. So that complicated act and complicated feeling of forgiveness, that was explored. And I love that, because forgiveness ain't easy. And, we're always told to forgive. And I'm just like, easier said than done. So I love how that was explored. What I liked about this book was like, it was a weird, strange pace. As in, like, there was a constant push and pull with the pace. As in, there were points where it was fast and then slow. It wasn't like, I'm just like, you're hitting at both extremes of the spectrum. Obviously, some books can be slow to mid pace, some books can be mid to fast pace, or some books just stay on one pace, either slow or fast or mid. This book, it was hitting at both ends of the spectrum. Sometimes it's just like, life goes on slow, and then it's just like pop, 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 hitting at the fast pace, and I'm just like, hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay, I'm gonna need you to take a break here, honey. But I liked it. I think all of this works well with the fact that it's poetry. I don't know. I feel like poetry just opened like the doors, like the realms of possibility was open because it was poetry. I just don't think I've ever seen a book like this, and I loved it. I loved it. I was just like, a poetry book, a poetry story. Ooh, very, very intriguing. Reading the book, as I said, I was raised in the Caribbean, and the whole Caribbean menu with different families is not new to me. But I was so frustrated. I was frustrated, especially because it was explored the reasons that he did what he did. But obviously, he's not alive to tell the tale, so it wasn't really explored. It was touched on, and I'm just like, no, 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 no. I don't think they were justifying it. They were just mentioning it. But I was just over here like, no, that's I now that I know, or I'm hearing maybe a reason as to why you did it, I dislike it even more. I'm just like, oh, Caribbean men, it's the fact that you guys have this reputation. Don't you want to get rid of the reputation? I was just like, oh my goodness, you guys are making us look bad. Yeah, so I was frustrated, but at the same time, it was like giggles. I was just like, wow, a story could be told about this, and they did tell the story about this, and I was just like, can't do anything about it, can we? I mean, we can, but it is what it is. But it did make for a good story, I guess. Overall, I think I think it was such a lovely story. It was a sobering tale. I think that's the word for it. I was just like, we're going through grief, pain, forgiveness, hurt, but we're going through it in such beautiful language. I think that's probably why the language and the literature choice was so perfect, because it's a hard topic. And what was good about it is that the poetry didn't mask all the pain and all the strong emotions that was happening. Um, but it eased us through everything. And so I love that about it. I love this writing. Even now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just yeah, it's sobering. It just has to be in this overwhelming sense of calm that I can't yell too much because this is not the book to yell. But it was good. Beautiful language, just beautiful storytelling, and a strong plot and relatable plot. Because let's be real, I feel like so many people know a story like this. Multiple families, or even, yeah, so many people can relate to this, I think. And hearing the author speak about it as well, it was inspired by like real events, like a plane crash that was going to Dominican Republic, and then so many families were discovering that they had another family. So it was, yeah, a lovely book, guys. Lovely book. I feel like my energy has died, but it's not died. It's just kind of sombered down. But I gave this book 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars, definitely, because everything works so well. The different perspectives, the distinct personalities of the characters and how they related to one another, the plot and the storyline, how they carried each other hand in hand, even the weird shifting with the pace, but it worked really well with the literature style of poetry. Everything worked well, and it made for an enjoyable read, even though it was a hard topic. So I definitely think this book, if you want like a change of pace, a weird change of pace probably, and maybe a sobering read, but also if you're looking for like just beautiful poetry, then yeah, go for this book. Yeah, great book, and excited to read more of Elizabeth's work. She does have quite a few books, so I'm excited to read more. I don't know if they'll all be poetry, but it's something to look forward to. And also something to look forward to is my next review. It'll be coming soon, guys, because I'm still reading. I haven't hit a book slump yet this year, so I'm very, very happy about that. I'm reading consistently, I'm reading constantly, and that's what we want, because we are on the road to 100 books in 2023. Yeah. But yeah, see you next time. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye.